All right, so we're going to go ahead and start recording the meeting. And so I just wanted to make sure that everybody is welcome to the meeting. Again, just wanted to make sure that you know that this is a TriMet's meeting about the FY23 service change proposals for September of 2022. And so with me this evening is Luke Norman, TriMet planner, and also Community Affairs Representative Shabina Sharif. And again, we'll be talking tonight about the proposed changes for fall of 2022 as they relate to Line 2 division and also the 10 Harold Street. And just when we're recording this, we're actually recording this meeting, and so we'll post this to the web page as soon as we're done with our meeting. And so I'll back up just a little bit here and go to our main page. So for those of you who are not aware, this is a proposal for September of 2022 to take effect in September of 2022. And this is in relation to the Division Transit Project. We're proposing changes to a couple of routes to accommodate the new FX Division line that will open in September. And so, as I stated, we're proposing changes to the Line 10 to accommodate this new high-capacity bus service. And it's coming to this division quite soon. And when it does, Line 2 will be replaced by the new and improved FX division and use Tillicum Crossing instead of the Hawthorne Bridge that it uses today. Line 10 will move from Southeast Ladd Avenue to Southeast 7th Avenue, serving 5 stops previously served by Line 2. We also want to add Saturday and Sunday service plus more weekday trips and later service on weeknights to Line 10 with this route change. And so let me get into a little bit closer detail here on the map so we can see exactly what's going on here. So what we're proposing with this new FX division service that is currently Line 2. As you can see on the map, the dashed blue line is the current Line 2 route that uses division, passing Ladd's Addition, and then curving on to Southeast 7th, and then serving going into downtown Portland, and then using the Hawthorne Bridge again on its return route. And then the Line 10 current route is a dashed blue line, light blue line, and it goes through and cuts through Ladd's Addition on Ladd Avenue in both directions, also using the Hawthorne Bridge. And so, as you can see, what we're proposing here is that the new route for the new 10 service would be keeping it on division, going past Ladd's Addition, and then serving Southeast 7th, and these stops that would no longer be served by the Line 2 when it becomes this green line, which is the FX division. FX division, as I mentioned, will be using Tillicum Crossing, so we need service in this area, especially since we have Goodwill over here and also residences in this area and lots of businesses as well. As part of this project or this proposal as well, we'll also be closing a couple of different stops that are on here due to low ridership or low use. And so these 2 stops will remain, and we'll keep the spacing pretty equal on Southeast 7th and also continue to serve other locations in here, including Goodwill. And then something else you'll notice on here are these multicolored dots that you see here. What those are stops that will be the FX division stops, but they'll also be shared by Line 10. As I mentioned, Line 10 will no longer cut through Ladd's Addition, but use a division here. And so it will also use the 2 stops that are here in the going towards downtown in the westbound direction, and then also in the eastbound direction, as you can see here. And then there will be some changes to lines service at some stops. These 2 stops up here would no longer have Line 10 service, but will continue to have the Line 14 service that serves Hawthorne. And then at this location also, since the Line 2 is becoming FX division, then these stops would no longer be served by that line number, but rather by Line 10 with the proposal to take it out of Ladd's Addition. And one other question that has come up during our discussions of this is, what will folks do who live in this area who need to go to or need to use the service that they used to cut through here? As I mentioned, Line 14, a frequent service that runs 7 days a week, every 15 minutes or better, will be here on Hawthorne, and that won't change. And then down here, we'll also have the Line 10 and the new FX division that will take them across the Tillicum Crossing. And one of the great benefits of this project, too, is that with this change, the FX division line will be able to serve Portland State University more directly than it does today using the Hawthorne Bridge. And that gives a much better impact for students who use it. And we have a very high ridership. And Portland State University uses our system quite a bit. So this will be a great benefit for all students and staff who go to that university. And also the bridge that you see here, the Hawthorne Bridge, has quite a few bus lines on it already. And this bridge actually has quite a bit of capacity. So using this bridge would actually make it easier for us and less congested because we're sharing a lot of vehicle traffic on this bridge, but we don't on this bridge. Luke, did you want to expand on anything on this map? Anything I haven't covered?
No, Clay, I think that was a great summary and overview of the changes we're proposing for fall.
Okay. Shabina, anything to add?
Nothing from me, thank you.
Okay. So quickly, I'm going to show the Division Transit project itself. A bit of information about that. And as I mentioned, Division Transit project has been under construction for quite a while. And some of the stations that are out there, or they're actually going to be called stations, as you see in this map of where each one is going to be located. They're going to be built slightly different rather than just a simple pole and bench to sit on. They will include lots of other amenities similar to what you might find at a Mac stop. And so up here, we'll show you real quick exactly what those are going to look like. So there are multiple types of station designs, and you can see if you click on each one of these sections, you can find what types of designs you may find in these areas. But this gives you a very good description of exactly what they look like with the pedestrian pass-through design, and lists the different stations where that will be seen, and then the pedestrian bypass design, and lists the stations that will the locations where that will be located. And the shared bicycle and pedestrian design, which is a bit unusual. We have used this in other locations, but it is a bike path basically in between the boarding area and the vehicle itself. So that's going to be it's an unusual design, but one that we have used in other locations that actually works quite well. And then also the island design. This puts the bike lane behind the shelter and where the passengers are standing, but they still have to cross over it to get to that stop. I'm going to show this video very quickly because I think it's a really wonderful piece of information for all those who are interested in this type of service that's going to be coming to Division. So I'm going to open this up for questions. Is there anybody that we have on our list here that might have questions? I'm going to go ahead and open up and see if maybe there is anything that anybody has any questions. So I'm going to go ahead and unmute. Charlotte, if you have any questions, I'll go ahead and unmute you and let me know if you have any questions.
Not at the moment, thank you.
All right, thank you. And Kathy, I'll unmute you real quick and let me know if you have any questions.
Not just now, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm also going to unmute, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing it, Kajiwa. I'm going to unmute you and see if you have any questions.
I do not have questions right now. Thank you.
Thank you. And Adriana Britton, I'm going to unmute you and see if you have any questions. All right, thank you. Okay. Coin, I'm going to unmute you and let me know if you have any questions. Okay, Wynn, any questions from you? All right. And Rex Fisher, I'll unmute you and see if you have any questions. Anything from you, Rex?
No.
Okay, thanks, Rex. All right. And Lane Gory Miles, do you have any questions you would like to put forth?
Oh, I do not.
Thank you. Right. If there is anybody in the group who does have a question, go ahead and raise your hand and we will unmute you and take any question that you have. Okay, so I'm going to review the station area design real quick so that people can kind of see exactly what we're talking about. And so this is a really good example of exactly what the station area design looks like. So this kind of gives you an idea of the configuration of where where the mall and the stops will actually be as they're located. And this kind of shows exactly where it's going to be meeting and coming into downtown Portland. This was from the open house that was put out in November of 2019. And again, this is our connection into downtown Portland. So this is a pretty comprehensive map and a group of documents. So it's a really good thing to kind of take a look at if you have any kind of questions about the specific design of these stations. There's a lot to it, a lot of things going on at each one of them. So I definitely encourage you to take a look at that if you haven't already. It's a really great document. So let me... Right. And so also down here at the bottom, there's some good information as well. Actually, I mentioned that each one of these stations and the locations is showing there, but you can actually get a really close look at exactly what the dimensions are. So for those who are using a mobility device, these types of views are actually very helpful to kind of give you an idea of exactly how much space there is at each loading area. Okay, and as I had mentioned, this is a 15-mile route that will improve the bus service, shaving quite a bit of time, up to 20% on their commute that's coming from downtown Gresham there at Cleveland Station all the way into downtown Portland. And again, we mentioned before, this is going to be longer buses with room for 60% more riders. And these new buses are quite interesting, actually. You can see a kind of example of them here. And you will begin to, if you haven't seen them out on the street already, we've got a few of them out there and you'll begin to see more of them quite soon. And you also have the ability to sign up for alerts on this as well. And this gives a really good piece of information on exactly what questions have been asked. So it's a really good kind of FAQ for this project. And something else that will be coming up quite soon is our safety campaign to kind of get people familiarized where exactly the stops will be, what they will look like, and how best to use them in this kind of new environment. We haven't had articulated buses in Portland for quite a while. And so using the buses again and kind of getting people familiar with them, getting them familiar with the stop locations and how they work will also be a priority as well, and kind of helping people with the signaling and the signaling changes that have happened, because we do have priority signaling on this system that allows us to get through signals quicker so that we don't have as much wait time behind signals. So there will be some changes in this. And with this new safety campaign, we'll also be letting people know exactly where their stop is going to be. So yes, a very good location to get more of this information. As I mentioned here, for construction emergencies, anybody who has any questions about the project, who is looking at this from a construction perspective, there is contact information for the construction project located on the webpage at Division Transit Project. I'm going to open up again, see if anybody has any questions. Go ahead and raise your hands if anybody out there has any questions at all. And there's also another campaign that's been going on Southeast Division, and that's really for the businesses. And this is something that we had been working on for quite a while, called the Division of Possibilities. And this was really our effort to make sure that during the construction project, that all the businesses who were located there on Division continued to have a business flow, and that we weren't blocking their retail traffic. And so this was really our effort to try and promote Division as open for business, and to let people know that even though they may see some construction, that things are still going as normal. And include all kinds of prizes and drawings and the ability to actually sign up for those prizes, and also gives you the ability to zoom in and see what's possible on Division today. So in other words, it has a listing for all the different businesses that are participating in here. Luke, is there anything that you wanted to add regarding the changes that are proposed for this service when we get to have the FX Division launched in September?
Yeah, thanks, Clay. I would just say that the information we're sharing tonight is based on some of the public feedback we received in the first round of outreach, requesting more information on the stops that Line 10 will serve on its new routing, which is shown there with the both some of the black dots that Clay mentioned, and also the green and blue dots, and also the 2 stops that we're proposing to close on Southeast 7th. And I just saw a question from Kathy in the chat, and Kathy, yes, we would like to increase frequency on Line 10. Our hope is that we're able to increase, add more trips during the day, and then also add new weekend service. And so that's our goal for what we'd like to add to Line 10 in the future. And that's the other key question we've had, is what will the future service be for Line 10? And so we're hoping we can add that new service for fall.
Thank you, Luke. And if anybody else has any questions, go ahead and raise your hand. We will go ahead and certainly answer any questions that we can for you tonight. If there is anything that we can't answer, we'll certainly get back to you with the answer for it. Okay. One other thing I wanted to cover for anybody who was interested in one of our other proposals that we have kind of taken back to the drawing board, and that was our Line 80 Kane Troutdale Road. That one out in Troutdale is a proposal that we made to remove the service from Glen Auto Park and just have the bus turn in downtown Troutdale. That one's gone back to the drawing board. We have some discussions that we want to have with the neighbors and with the city and with some businesses up there to determine the best way to turn the bus and how it should best serve that area. So that will probably be coming back up onto the drawing board, back as a proposal sometime soon, but for now we're in discussions about it. And I also want to remind everybody that the comment deadline for this proposal is February 20th. And so if you could give us your comments or go to this webpage or send any comments that you have to us by February 20th to make sure that we get everything in time so that we can get all of these proposals to the board by March for their first reading, and then a second reading and possible vote would be in April. And so that's the timeline that we're on right now. So February 20th would be the deadline to send us any comments that you have. And there was also a question that had come up recently about delays that may occur in this area. It's something that some folks have been concerned about for quite a while. And of course, we won't know for sure exactly what, how well we'll interact with the trains coming through there that kind of block traffic on 11th and 12th, specifically 11th in this case. And so we won't know for sure, but we've done a lot of work with Union Pacific in electrifying their switches inside the Brooklyn train yard. That was one of the big causes for delays. And so we're also looking very carefully at scheduling. And so we won't require, as I mentioned, we won't really know for sure exactly how well it will work. We anticipate it'll work very well because we've actually been looking at this for several years now and looked very closely at it before we even proposed the project. But when it is into service, then we will take a look and see exactly how well it is working and make tweaks and adjustments after that if necessary. Luke, is there anything that you wanted to address as far as schedule is concerned?
No, I think that's a great point. We have been reviewing the area and listening to community concerns about potential delays, and we're developing some game plans to respond to train delays as they happen after the FX opens this fall.
Thank you. So again, I will send a request for any comments or questions that you have. Go ahead and raise your hand if you have anything that you can think of that you'd like to ask. We're happy to answer any questions that you've got. We've got about 6 minutes left, and so we'll pause and see if anybody has any questions.